Hello everyone, good morning. So I know I am tardy to the party by about a week on the Thor Love and Thunder movie, but I still wanted to make a video giving my thoughts on it and reviewing it. So, first off, of course, it's directed by Taika Waititi, and once again, just like Ragnarok, he did a phenomenal job of creating something new with Thor. This movie, they had a bunch of comedy. Sometimes it didn't land, but it had more comedy as like the Ragnarok did, so it's in the same style. You could tell it's in Taika Waititi's expertise. The only critique I'd have for that comedy, again, not all of it landed. The theater I went to with my friends from college, we laughed at a lot of the jokes, but I don't think the whole theater did so. It wasn't like Thor Ragnarok where everyone's gut busting themselves because of all the comedy. There's some good ones in there, but then each scene kind of had comedy in it in some form, and in some of the scenes I don't think it fit because it was talking about some serious topics, like spoiler alert before I go into it a little bit deeper here, but like when the kids are captured they put a bunch of comedy in that, which I don't find fit, and even in the serious scenes where Gore's there, they put some comedy in that. So I don't think it fits in all the areas that he put it in, but there's a lot of comedy. And when it did fit into the scene, it was done really well, and it was pretty funny. Right, next up, I would like to talk about the settings and the characters. So, in this movie, we had, of course, Mighty Thor, Jane Foster from the comics, and again, spoiler warning, she has she sadly has stage 4 cancer, and she is called by Mjolnir, and she seeks it out, and then she becomes Thor, the Mighty Thor. So that actually takes away her cancer, but then it's actually like eating her away because of the energy of the hammer itself is kind of weakening her mortal energy or her mortal life. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword there. So she has a limited time of not only being Jane Foster but also being Thor. So there's that dynamic there of either letting it be up to the universe what happens or taking charge, living each day as much as you can. And in the end, I think that's a good message that they're trying to show where Thor and Jane weren't going to just sit around and wait for the universe to tell them what to do and whatnot like that. They took charge, they took action, even though the stakes were really high. Gore the God Butcher had this plan where he was going to reach eternity, the entity who's like the embodiment of the expanding universe, basically. And he wanted to wish for all the gods to be dead. He's going on a rampage, killing all these gods who are staying by their people. And what's interesting is when they go to this setting called Inoptimate City. Oh wait, sorry, Omnipotent City. Sorry about that. I had a brain fart there. In Omnipotent City, this is where all the high level gods live. So you see like different cameos from different cultures. It was pretty cool to see like some Asian gods from different Asian cultures. There's some like Pacific Island gods though. There's some Central American gods. There are a bunch of like these cameos of different cultures and different beings, and I really like what they did. I wish they would have spent more time there instead of just using it as like, oh, this is how we're going to get the lightning bolt. They need the army of the gods, but since Zeus was kind of being a stuck-up jerk and not helping them, he basically said, "Oh, those are lesser gods that Gore is killing. Why do we need to help them?" Again, spoilers throughout this video are going to be there, so he's basically saying, "Oh, why should I help all these lesser gods, lower gods they got themselves killed in all this?" And so that creates a fight between Thor and Valkyrie and versus Zeus. Korg is there, he gets shattered. And what's interesting is apparently on his species, the Coronans, only their face is actually alive. All the other rocks are just controlled by their face, I'm guessing. But yeah, Korg almost, well, you think he dies, but he actually doesn't. Um, and of course, Thor was attacked by Zeus's guards, but he overpowers them and he throws a lightning bolt, wounding Zeus. If he falls, you think Zeus died, but no, he's back in one of the other scenes. And so from there, they go from the Omnipotent City using the lightning bolt. They go to like Gore the God Butcher's hideout in like the Shadow Realm. This is literally called the Shadow Realm. So he basically like yeeted the kids to the Shadow Realm by capturing them. And what happens here, you have more of the reveal between Thor and Jane Foster. They kind of heal up with their relationship. Thor sadly learns that Jane Foster has cancer, sadly though, but they do basically tie up loose ends of their relationship, and it's revealed that Korg has two dads, which is pretty cool, I think. And during that time, they just talk about more exposition and stuff. The music's pretty good here. In that scene, they're on their way to the Shadow Realm, basically. And then when they get there, they see Gore the God Butcher. He's not there, but he sets the trap up. You'll notice something with the tarp tent thingy where he traps him in. It kind of looks like the thing that Shield built around Mjolnir in Thor 1 when they're examining it. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's an Easter egg some of the larger channels aren't covering, so I don't know, I just picked that out. I thought that was interesting. Okay, so more about Gore the God Butcher. So Christian Bale did amazing. Gore was terrifying. And he had this cool weapon where the Necrosword kind of like calls to him as like a bloodlust, and it just like destroys, it literally just like incapitates people, and even attacks this gigantic like dragon looking god, which is pretty cool. In a power standpoint, this thing, I wonder what's more powerful, the Infinity Stones or the Necrosword. So who knows? They might say the power levels of these things maybe in like a what if situation. What if Gore the God Butcher hunted Thanos? You know, that would be interesting. Anyways, he has this plan to kill all the gods because he was betrayed by his god Rapu at the beginning of the movie when he was praying all this time for his daughter to become part of the eternal reward. She sadly dies, and so he actually meets his hero in a sense. He meets Rapu, and I think this is where um, his motive kind of is a little bit cloudy because it doesn't seem to be his want to kill all the gods. It looks like the Necrosword was corrupting him from the start. So that's why he's like going on this mission to eradicate all of them. It looks like the Necrosword is doing it because it does corrupt the wielder, you know. So, but anyway, so he kills Rapu after Rapu like taunts him and basically says, "Oh, we don't care about you guys. The eternal reward, yeah, that was a bunch of BS that I just made up. You guys should still worship me, though, even though I'm not doing anything for you." So he kind of gets mad about that, and then he kills Rapu. But his powers, he controls like these shadow beings called Black Berserkers in the comics. They kind of look like Venom. And actually, what's interesting in the comics, the Necrosword is connected to Venom in the most surprising way. So, the one who made the Necrosword was Null, the god of all the symbiotes. But sadly, that's still owned by Sony, right? So there's speculation that they're going to make the Necrosword something made by a character in the comics called the Fear Lord, which is based off of one of the Japanese mythological beings called Amatsu Mikabushi. So they might go with that route. It has the same kind of thing where it's like basically a shadow entity, embodying all of the chaos, all of the entropy, all of the darkness in the universe as like a being. So I think they might go that route later on in the movie. I mean, they have Hercules coming back in one of the post-credit scenes. Spoilers. They have Hercules joining the fight he's called by his dad to go and find Thor and bring him to justice. So the gods will be prayed to again instead of the superheroes. So I think that's interesting. They might be setting up like a Hercules like versus Thor movie, or Hercules and Thor team up between them, or he might just straight up join the Thunderbolts. There's also a team in the comics where it's just mostly made up of these mythological figures. Some of them are gods, called the God Squad, and that would be cool as a movie. I think that would be pretty interesting. Once back again to Jane Foster and Valkyrie, there's good chemistry between them. Jane Foster, Natalie Portman again did amazing in her role. Here's Thor's ex-girlfriend turned superhero. I really loved how she was going like through all the different characteristics of a generic superhero, like trying to find the catchphrase and trying to do a battle pose. That was pretty interesting and funny. She has a like side quest where she's trying to search for the perfect catchphrase throughout the whole movie, and I think that's excellent. I think that was extremely funny. Alright, in ending terms, I would like to say Thor Love and Thunder was really good. It's a hard battle between Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, but I'd have to rate Ragnarok higher. It just had, I think it just had more of a good balance of all the different things in a Thor movie. It had good comedy balance. It had a good storyline. It just had the right balance of everything, where Thor, Love and Thunder, some of the comedy is misplaced. And also, there's apparently a bunch of scenes with certain actors like Peter Dinklage and Jeff Goldblum that have been sadly cut from the director's theatrical cut, so I think those missing scenes would have added a lot more to the movie. We could have seen Gar, the God Butcher, more. I mean, he was the big bad of the movie, but he was really only in like 4 scenes, basically 4 or 5 fight scenes. He wasn't there in the movie. We didn't see him like go around and fighting Thor at all these different places. We did see him fighting any of these other gods except for Rapu. And I think it would have added more like weight to the seriousness of, we need to stop Gore here, because if he kills all the gods who are actually protecting their people, of course there wouldn't be anyone to protect the people in those areas. So I think they should have shown that urgency by at least showing some of like Gore's like fight scenes with these other gods, and maybe the people who worship the gods were tried to defend them too, and they sadly got in the crosshairs. I think that would have caused a sense of urgency to help the plot move forwards. Overall, it was a really good movie. I'm glad I saw it. I actually saw it twice, one with my family and then second time with my friends from college, and it was worthwhile. I really liked the movie in the end. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I really want to see those extra scenes. Hopefully in a Blu-ray release they'll have them, but it was a fun movie. It was a fun ride. Alright, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have a good day, and I'll catch you guys later.